here we go. Round 14, our last round of Swiss before our top cut. Grant Manley starts that Psyduck. Not going to be useful in this matchup, and it's going to be essentially a free prize for a Solrock later down the line, but does have that Buddy Poffin to find a Charmander and a Pidgey. Hopefully trying to set up a Pidgeot EX next turn.
This is one of the things about Psyduck that a lot of players feel their hesitation towards, is that if you're not using it, that's a liability now that's just going to be sitting on your bench here. And especially with its hit points at 70 HP, that's a perfect point for Solrock to try and find a way to kind of even up the prize mapping and finding less liability to leave in the active here for Caleb. So I want to see how exactly it is going to be played around. Finding only Charmander and Pidgey off of this Buddy Poffin, no Dusknoir in the list as we talked about here. So it is just going to be a pretty okay opening. Also has another one in hand, but the pink card, the Ace spec, is going to be maximum belt here to try and hit these numbers, and especially onto Gholdengo, we can actually access these numbers a little bit sooner.
Taking a look at the hand for Caleb now, there is 1 Pokegear, 2 Earthen Vessel, 2 Superior Energy Retrieval. This Pokegear is going to need to do a lot of work. No access to any other Pokemon like Gimmighoul or that Solrock.
Looking a little bit tough here too. I mean, you have to find a way to get your Solrock up and running so you can Lunar Cycle, start drawing these cards here. But doing just the deck search here with the Earthen Vessel, not much really else to work off of though. So Caleb's just going to have to thin as much as possible here. Oh. But the draws aren't giving, only a Pheasantipity in hand?
Yeah, excuse me, it's not even a Pokegear. I think it's a Picnic Basket.
Oh, great.
That's not going to help at all. This is not a good hand for Caleb. And usually it's Grant with the bad luck. Maybe rubbing off on Caleb.
Just a little bit here. I want to see a way that I feel like Caleb is now forced into a position where he has to bench this Pheasantipity EX here, and that's a green light go sign for Grant to start to get things up and running, especially because playing the maximum belt plus 50 versus your opponent's active Pokemon EX as well. We don't even need to take a knockout to hit those numbers here too. We already know that it's in hand here. So it is Caleb now kind of up against the wall, forced to bench at Pheasantipity, and maybe even an attachment. Maybe we want to save the energy, but only an air balloon and a superior energy retrieval, and it's back on over to Grant.
This is not what you want to see if you're a Gholdengo player. You usually want to be so aggressive in the early game with the Solrock, with just getting your Gimmighoul so you can start drawing cards with your Gholdengos. But Grant has that Arven. It's going to be able to search for something like that rare candy that you pull to the front. Maybe you have that technical machine evolution. And you kind of have some time now.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the times in Charizard, and one of the big moves that players have kind of opted to go for is getting rid of rare candies in a lot of their lists, but Grant's still opting to give him the choice of playing Turbo here, and you see with the Ultra Ball, it's obviously probably going to go for something like the Pidgeot here. We can get the quick search engine up and running to start getting these pieces together. Ultra Ball, excuse me, for Pidgeot here into the rare candy evolve. Already has a technical machine evolution in hand here as well, but like you said, Jeremy, I mean, it's all coming up great for Grant on this turn where Caleb is just kind of forced against the wall.
Already eyeing down that Charizard EX, has the energy in hand to go along with the evolution, so will be able to grab a Charmeleon. Does have 1 in the prize cards, so only able to grab the 1, but still a lot better than what Caleb is putting up on the board.
Got to talk about it too. Charizard, just one of those decks that really sometimes just has it all in hand with the amount of cards. But we see the Fighting Gong for the top deck here. We'll be able to at least find the Solrock, but the energy attachment actually went to the Lunatone, or went to the Pheasantipity instead of the Lunatone. I don't know if we're going to be able to find a way to get the Solrock into the active, but one thing's
for starting. Cards.
Oh, we have the Air Balloon in hand. We can draw some cards as well here. We have to find a way to start getting some help here onto the bench, start finding the Gimmighouls. We will be able to at least find the Arven, and we got to talk about it. There is some fun stuff in Caleb's deck as well. You have, of course, one of the things that's kind of tricky is the Hops Cramorant actually being played inside of this deck. It seemed to have been kind of the inclusion of the week for Gholdengo. I know a lot of Gholdengos have been opting for the Mega Mawile or this Hops Cramorant with the Fickle Spitting attack does 120. If your opponent doesn't have exactly 3 or 4 prizes remaining, this attack does nothing. It's very interesting to see.
Yeah, might not see it in this matchup, usually in there for the mirror match to go along with your Solrocks, just trying to put up single prize attackers against your opponent. But having the Arven here is great. You're able to find those Gimmighoul with the Buddy Poffin and grab the Vitality Band just in case you need it. But there is the Air Balloon retreat. We're at least going to see the knockout on the Psyduck here.
Yeah, but the problem is, Jeremy, you take 1 knockout on a Psyduck with a Solrock, and you have a 2 prize liability on the bench right then and there for Grant to eye up with something like a counter catcher here. Draws into the Monkey Dory, but already has the maximum belt as well. Doesn't even need it because of the Infernal Rain into Burning Darkness here. See what the Pidgeot Quick Search has to be for, I'm just going to assume it's going to be for that counter catcher. We can play it nice and easy here, but the Charizard EX coming down onto the bench here, we can get things started.
This is kind of how you draw it up if you're playing Charizard EX. You have the 2 energy now with Infernal Rain. Quick Search is such a good ability, being able to search your deck for any card every single turn. Now, Grant is down a lot of gusting effects, 2 bosses in the prize cards, so you have access to Counter Catcher and the 1 boss's orders. And it looks like Grant's just grabbing that Lily's Determination, needing a few more cards to work with, especially if something like a Gholdengo comes down and boss's orders knock out that Pidgeot EX, just the perfect hand from Caleb.
It goes to show that there's a little bit more discipline that also comes with playing Charizard EX. A lot of the times players just want to start swinging as quickly as possible here. But like you alluded to a little bit earlier, Jeremy, that second Charmeleon is prized here. So Grant has to find a way to start kind of feeding the energy on over into this second Charmander here, but 8 fresh cards for Grant right now. Has an energy to work with as well. Want to see how exactly he may be using an Ultra Ball. We see the Shaman in hand, not applicable in this type of matchup, but I'm wondering if we're going to start to use the Ultra Ball to grab something like Chi-Yu and at least threaten it out.
That is the thing with this Charizard EX deck, right? Is eventually you're just going to build a board where your opponent as Gholdengo can take a knockout, but they're going to get knocked out right back. And you kind of set up a checkmate scenario, especially as the prize cards start to get taken again and again. And like you said, that Chi-Yu is just so important in this matchup, being found right away with that Ultra Ball.
Mega Fire of Envy is the attack. This little fish does a ton of damage. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from the attack from your opponent last turn, this does 90 more. That's perfect math for a Gholdengo EX. That's why a lot of Gholdengo players hate to see this card coming here, but it looks like Grant is actually about to get really aggressive, take the 1 prize card, and just invite Caleb to start using some of these resources and start getting this energy out of the deck.
You also get rid of the Soul Rock in play, so that means you have to force Caleb to do a little bit more work to use that Lunar Cycle, draw some cards, because you have to have that Soul Rock in play to be able to use that ability. Do have access to that Flip the Script now from Pheasantipity EX. So we'll be able to have Caleb draw some cards on this following turn. You see that Fighting Gong in hand.
I think the biggest thing, Jeremy, is that now that we've moved away from something like an Energy Search Pro, where we can reliably get all of the energy out of the deck, now we have to really work with our Earthen Vessels to find a lot of this energy coming through here. But Flip the Script for 3 cards. And you also have to note as well, it's very important playing against a big Charizard EX here that you have to be very careful with your recovery options in terms of your superior energy retrievals. You need multiple to knock out 1 Charizard that's completely healthy here. And one of those is actually prized for Caleb. So while yes, we could get the knockout this turn, it's all about how he plays after and using that resource management skill that we always talk about.
Quite a stacked hand for Caleb here, though. Arvin, that can go ahead and find something like an Earthen Vessel, grab some extra energies out of the deck. There is, what, 3 energy in hand already, superior energy retrieval. You have the 1 on the active, so you can retreat. That is the, or you already have 4 in the discard. So Fighting Gong here, going to find that Soul Rock so you can Lunar Cycle if you want. I think the one thing we're really missing here is Gholdengo EX.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're only playing 1 copy of this Genesect EX as well. So playing down Arvin, it feels like if you don't draw into it, doesn't exactly feel good to have to use the Nest Ball when you need a plethora of other things to really kind of get you started here. 3 cards, though. Can we find a way to get Genesect here? We find at least 1 Gholdengo. That's kind of the first piece that we're missing. But can we be able to reach those maximum high numbers on this turn? It looks like yes. It might just be a little bit of this math here going on.
Here is the retreat to that Gholdengo EX. That is going to allow this coin bonus to draw an extra card for Caleb. Started the turn with maybe like 6 cards in hand, and now is going to have like 15, something like that. It is crazy how many cards this deck can draw in a turn. 2 cards off top. Another Gholdengo EX found, along with that Genesect EX, but now you don't even want to bench that liability. You already have Pheasantipity EX in play, and with these 2 Gholdengo EXs, that is essentially the prize map for Grant.
Especially too, benching a Genesect also is weak to fire as well. You're talking about liabilities. That's a big one right there. I don't know if Caleb wants to get super aggressive with something like a Prime Catcher, maybe onto Pheasantipity this turn. Doesn't exactly seem all but correct here, but Caleb doing the math. See what 1 more card brings off of Gholdengo. I'm interested to see. Artisan doesn't really help us here. We've seen so many cards this turn. The question is, do we see a knockout on Charizard right here, right now?
You were saying Caleb got the Prime Catcher from the prize cards, so you can preserve some energy, take a knockout on even just the Pidgeot EX or the Pheasantipity, kind of limit some of the extra draw Grant has for the next turn. But if you do that, you leave the Charizard EX in play. You've taken 2 prize cards now, so that's 240 damage, which usually isn't enough to take the knockout on the Gholdengo, but maximum belt is the A-spec for Grant. So if he has an access to that through Arvin, or if the Pidgeot still is on board, that is just an easy KO, and then you're still needing to find the exorbitant amount of energy on the next turn to take the knockout on the Charizard.
The thing is, we're talking about the Charizard, but Jeremy, we got to look at the Chi-Yu on the bench as well. That one's just waiting to go. You get rid of the Charizard, that's okay, but still, then again, you're leaving the Pidgeot EX available up and running to have Grant find Rare Candy Charizard once again, and using a way to cycle back in these Fire Energies back into the deck, but then a Chi-Yu with one prize attacker that really kind of puts a thorn in the side of your deck comes into the active. We have to see what exactly Caleb wants to prioritize here, but we know for sure we're going to be attacking this turn. First Superior Energy Retrieval down. It's the most important thing. That's only one of 3 available right now. It's the 4th one sitting at the top of the prizes.
Artisan is the stadium for Caleb, able to find another Gimmighoul if he wants. And I think with the Chi-Yu, you have a good response against it with the Soul Rock, being able to deal 110 damage with Cosmic Beam thanks to Vitality Band and that Premium Power Pro. But that is something that is for a future turn. You really want to try to just clear up a lot of the attackers that Grant has right now.
Super Rod being played right away here to just get the energy back into the deck. And like we said, with limited resources at this point, you kind of have to play very carefully around all of your draw, right? If you use your resources now, you can draw back into the energy a little bit later. Count it out for me, Jeremy. We're making it rain, I believe, all the way through for 350 damage. We will be able to see the knockout this turn. Caleb goes down to 3 prizes.
Making it rain in Las Vegas, which it's also just raining outside, so it's very topical. Taking the knockout, going down to 3 prize cards. Grant to 5, but has access to that Pidgeot Quick Search and Flip the Script. Is going to need an energy at least to have the return KO. With the Chi-Yu, you see it in the hand already, so now it is all about just trying to find another Charizard.
The thing is, though, Jeremy, you look at the prizes, and another Charmander is with that Charmeleon in the prizes. And as we talked about a little bit earlier, a lot of your gusting options are also unavailable in this game. You have to think Gholdengo, a deck that can be really aggressive now with the Soul Rock and Lunatone, pulls ahead. And while yes, we have an attack with this Chi-Yu, you have to only imagine what Grant is going to prioritize here. A couple more draws, but has a supporter, and Arvin has the energy, but it feels a little bit awkward, especially because Caleb can very much so go aggressive next turn, draw a bunch of cards, potentially find Boss's Orders onto something like your Pidgeot, and still have the prize trade in your favor.
Your super odds are also taxed just because the Charizard got knocked out with 2 Fire Energy. You're attaching a Fire Energy to the Chi-Yu for a turn. You're going to be needing to find that super odd, not only to get back something like the Charmeleon or the Charizard, but also just the Fire Energy so you can keep the stream of attackers going. Now we see a quick search here. What do you think Grant is going to be looking for?
It's hard to say when you really think about it, but like you talked about, I mean, Super Rod is kind of the lifeblood, the engine of this deck here. You have to find a way to kind of recycle a lot of these resources back into the deck. Like we said, we're down a Charmeleon as well, so we have to get set up here. So we can use the Super Rod to do something like Super Rod back in the Charmander, and then use Artisan to rebench it here. But it is going to be Arvin for turn here, at least trying to once again set up some energy, another attacker to go with this Chi-Yu. I don't believe we're going to be swinging with Charizard this turn, but we'll definitely be able to at least get set up another Charmander just in case for the turn following, but still have this Chi-Yu up front.
Well, if you think about it, you probably could swing with Charizard this turn. It's forcing Caleb to find another, 7 energies to make it rain. Has the Soul Rock with the Vitality Band, so it could just be a very simple response to the Chi-Yu, maybe save it on the bench for another knockout. Here we do see that Rare Candy Charizard, Infernal Rain, 2 energy on that powerful Terra EX. Oh, just the 1, okay.
I believe it has 1 in hand. There's a Mist Energy in hand, too. Yeah, already has 1 Fire Energy in hand. So is going to think about where to put this other Fire here. Going to go onto the Charizard EX, but that's the thing. I feel like as we've seen Charizard EX as a deck, Jeremy, I feel like we've taken a lot of energy out of this deck, and now we're kind of playing with a very small amount that we have to divide very equally here. Oh, interesting.
Splitting the energy now onto that Charmander just found off with the Ultra Ball. There is that attack for the knockout thanks to the 3rd prize card taken from Caleb, having 270 damage with that Burning Darkness. Now, looking at those prize cards too, does find one of the boss's orders. That is very important.
The thing is, though, Jeremy, I mean, Caleb can go extremely aggressive this route, use the Prime Catcher with the Soul Rock to take something like the Charmander out this turn. I think that would be your best play. And then you're preserving your Gholdengo on the bench. You can also evolve your other Gimmighoul this turn and then keep finding massive ways to draw. I like the idea of still sending up Soul Rock as this threat here, but I have to imagine that it's not as easy as I think it could be. We'll see a couple of draws, though, and this is one of the big pulls of Gholdengo EX as a deck, the amount of cards that you get to draw, and you can really draw a massive amount of cards before you even make a decision. It's that sequencing that players really tend to love.
Yeah, we already saw it here. 3 cards from Pheasantipity, 1 card from that Gholdengo EX. Still has access to another Gholdengo here, and with using the coin bonus on the bench, you have to pretty much guarantee this Soul Rock is going to be attacking this turn. Now you have access to the boss's orders. you haven't played a supporter for the turn, so maybe saving that prime catcher for the following turn. Now, the thing is, Grant does have boss's orders in hand from the prize cards, has access to quick search, that Pheasantipity. I don't know if you're really going to be able to come back in this prize race. Caleb's going to go down to 1 or 2 cards here.
Benching the Gimme Ghoul, considering here. I like the prize mapping that you're talking about, Jeremy, because it is very interesting. Because Caleb could go down to 2 prizes and then find a way to finish off. But then, I mean, you talk about Grant has 3 prizes as well and can swing back kind of hard. The thing is, we have some superior energy retrievals in hand as well, but the boss's orders into the Charmander, as we talked about, this seems like a better line than anything here. We leave a single prize Pokemon in the active as that liability here. And like we talked about, while yes, Grant does have the 2 bosses in hand, look at the way that Caleb has now set up his board where there is so many threats here that now Grant has to kind of work around.
Now, I do believe Grant still has access to Counter Catcher. Now, a Counter Catcher play on the Pheasantipity EX, taking the knockout, going down to 1 prize card, trying to limit your opponent down while also playing the 1 copy of Iono in Grant's list is hopefully the best case scenario, but it's definitely going to be a tricky turn for Grant to navigate just because Caleb's hand is massive at this point.
It's a little bit interesting here. I want to seeing the Pidgey bench down, my brain goes to a line of trying to protect something with Professor Turo's scenario potentially, and trying to use Counter Catcher, like you said, Chi-Yu onto Gholdengo EX here, but Grant really has to figure out to make a decision. It's not exactly the easiest line to really kind of get through.
We're just trying to thin the deck out too. This Pheasantipity is going to have to put a ton of work in, finding one of the 2 cards, right? Counter Catcher or Iono is best case scenario. Maximum Belt and the Luminous Energy on that Chi-Yu. Here is the flip the script, 3 cards. I do believe Grant did find that Counter Catcher.
It's the Counter Catcher, so we can quick search for the Iono here.
This has to be best case scenario for Grant to try to make this comeback. Now it is all going to be up to the cards that Caleb draws off this Iono, the coin bonuses, the potential Lunar Cycle. Can Grant do it? Which is crazy how this game has turned out, especially with the start that Caleb had. Just not having really any supporter in the hand, but has managed to come back out in this prize race ahead for right now.
The Counter Catcher here, thinking about it as well, a lot of the times a great target is that Pheasantipity here, but why not take out one of the attackers attacking Gholdengo as well? I mean, you know that you're going to get a mass amount of draw here, so it's just kind of the best of the worst case scenario here as Grant's going to play down the Iono, and now it's all up to what Caleb is going to be able to draw. I actually really enjoy how Caleb is writing down what cards are in his hand just for information, right? He has to know that he's sending 1 superior energy retrieval all the way down to the bottom of the deck and the ace spec as well. It is okay to take notes during your match, but we'll see what exactly the Iono to 2 is going to bring for Caleb. Will he be able to respond?
Yeah, with the Counter Catcher bringing up that Gholdengo EX as well, this allows Grant to put up a 1 prize Pokemon in the active spot, taking the knockout. That forces Caleb to find that Prime Catcher now, along with just a way to take a knockout on something like that Pheasantipity EX on the bench. Caleb is taking a quick look at all the resources available to him that he has used throughout the game.
See how exactly he wants to play it out here. Just going to promote this Gholdengo, so really committing to drawing. Has 1 superior energy retrieval in hand and a nest ball. Professor Turo scenario doesn't exactly help us in terms of a supporter card, but could be great fodder here for the superior energy retrieval. Artisan here to shuffle the deck as well. You absolutely can do that. There are a ton of Pokemon in here that you can use to get rid of with superior energy retrieval. The math can math. You just have to find a way to get it, access it via Arvin. We'll see what the draws are going to bring on coin bonus.
I actually do really like Caleb bringing up the Gholdengo EX here. It allows you to unlock coin bonus for 2 cards, as well as just trying to find your Prime Catcher, because if you bring up the Lunatone with the Prime Catcher off the Pheasantipity, you're going to have to retreat to the Gholdengo to try to find it. Here's 3 cards, superior energy retrieval again, so now 2 of them, 2 cards off this Gholdengo EX. Prime Catcher will win the game for Caleb.
Arvin, Jeremy, Arvin.
Arvin does it. This has been such an insane game 1, and it looks like Grant's luck is running out so far. Just another card off this Gholdengo on the bench. And there we see the Arvin finding that Prime Catcher. Double superior energy retrieval in hand for Caleb. Prime Catcher up that Pheasantipity EX. Retreat that Lunatone with the air balloon. And just like that, Caleb Gedmer up 1-0 against his friend Grant Manley.
Grant did an amazing job of going for the most optimal choice here in using Counter Catcher there and then having the Chi-Yu in the active. But the problem is, Jeremy, when your engine relies on drawing as many cards as possible, if taking the 1 attacker out is great, right? That's a good one way to, tack down how many cards you're taking, but then you have Gholdengo EX, which draws 2 cards, Pheasantipity that draws more cards. It just felt like the best of the worst case scenario here, and it was going to be for Grant to be on the back foot, but Caleb, of course, going to be able to draw into everything he needs.
Now, game 1 started off with Caleb not really having much access to the Soul Rock. Grant was able to take a couple turns to set up with that TM evolution. Started with the Psyduck. Soul Rock able to take a prize for Caleb, going down to 5, and then we finally saw Gholdengo EX. 7 energy discarded, taking the knockout on that Charizard EX. Grant having the response, though, with another Charizard and that Chi-Yu getting powered up. There is that Soul Rock taking a knockout on the Charmander, allowing Caleb going down to 2 prize cards left, and this was the end sequence here. This Iono was a lie because Caleb was able to find everything thanks to 2 Gholdengo EXs and a Pheasantipity EX. Prime Catcher, double Spear energy retrieval. Now we're on to game 2. Hops Cramorant in the active. Not what you want to see.
No, but the problem is, Jeremy, you don't want to see what's in Grant's hand either. It's a lot of fire energy in the hand, and technically you need it for in the deck in order to accelerate to it here too. I mean, granted, great. We have at least the technical machine evolution inside of the hand, so we can at least see the Buddy Buddy Poffin being used for the Pidgey and the Charmander here. But Grant's prize is, once again, 1 Charmander and 1 Charmeleon in not being able to be accessed in this game. Now, granted, Pidgeot EX is scary in the prizes. There are 2 in the deck, though, but only 1 boss's orders this time.
Listen, Emily, it's going to be all okay. Grant is going to be able to find a Lilies or the Iono off of this Tatsugiri. That way, next turn, you can shuffle all the fire energy back in the deck. It'll be a-okay. Starting out with Buddy Buddy Poffin and that TM evolution, you have the energy in hand, of course, to get those Charmeleon and Pidgeotto in play, especially with Caleb just going attach pass on that Hops Cramorant, not able to even attack until Grant starts to get the ball rolling.
Thinning the deck here, using attract customers. Like you said, the target here is Lily's Determination or Iono to get all the energy back into the deck, but you can't ask for anything more going on your turn, going on your first turn, going second, being able to find the Pidgeotto and the Charmeleon, and back on over into Caleb's turn.
Now, Caleb does have that Arven in hand. Wasn't able to use it on turn 1 thanks to just not being able to play supporters on turn 1, but having access to Nest Ball. I think there's also a Fighting Gong in the hand, so we could see some Soul Rock, Lunatone, maybe take a knockout. You have the energy on the active to retreat, and again, this is the power of Gholdengo as a deck. It's just very consistently getting these early knockouts, early pressure, thanks to this Lunatone Soul Rock combo.
Fighting Gong in hand to find starting to draw here, but we got to talk about the prizes, Jeremy. 1 copy of Genesect EX in the deck with that metallic signal, being able to reliably find your evolution Pokemon, but it is tucked away in the prizes, so we're going to just have to, you know, draw into it, as bad as that feels. But thanks to Soul Rock and Lunatone, we are going to be able to see some more cards. There is also an Arven in hand as well, so we can start to get these Gimme Ghouls up and running as well here. But the Hops Cramorant not being able to Fickle Spit here is very funny.
Funny. Yeah, it is rough when you're starting this Pokemon that is attack for just a bunch of different matchups. You're not really going to be using here. It's going to be just, biggest thing, taking up a bench space.
Yeah.
We saw Caleb kind of just managing the bench space very well, having the Lunatone Soul Rock. You have your Gimme Ghouls and your Gholdengos. That's really what you want, Pheasantipity EX. So going to have to maybe sacrifice some just extra draw power throughout the game. Now, with the hand here, you also have boss's orders, but is that a Premium Power Pro?
Yes, it is, Jeremy. It's a Premium Power Pro that's already in the hand here. So let's do some math together. It's 70 for the Cosmic Beam, and instead of taking out the Pidgeotto here, we are going to use that Premium Power Pro to buff the damage by 30 here, and being able to take out the 1 Charmeleon onto the bench now.
Soul Rock getting those electrolytes in, taking the knockout, getting rid of the immediate threat that is that Charmeleon. Now Grant still can have access to Pidgeotto, or Pidgeot EX, and has Lily's Determination in hand, but not much else.
As I'd like to say, Jeremy, no Gimme Ghoul, no problem. Yeah, I mean, Soul Rock showing that still very much a very capable engine here, as Grant is going to use this Arven. No point of shuffling back in the hand when you don't really have Charmanders and Charmeleons and Charizards to really accelerate to, but really going to find the Ultra Ball here, Ultra Ball away some of the dead pieces inside of the hand for something like a Pidgeot, and then using Pidgeot Quick Search to find that Buddy Buddy Poffin to reestablish maybe a couple more here. But once again, looking in Grant's prizes, there's 1 Charmander, 1 Charmeleon, so now Grant is forced to use one of those recovery options that we talked about a little bit earlier to get some things back up into the deck out of the discard.
I think we're going to have to see attract customers here. That's why you see Grant shuffling up. And then Ultra Ball for the Pidgeot EX. Quick Search for something like a Super Rod to Super Rod the cards back, but then you don't have a way to grab a Charmander out. So it is just definitely really awkward here. Again, just the prize cards really hurting Grant in this matchup.
It's the fact that we're playing such thin lines, right? And I think as Charizard has kind of grown as a deck. A lot of these consistency cards that people really were kind of going for, we've seen a couple of less and less here. The crazy part about Grant's deck list is that he's playing 4 Buddy Poffins in this list, kind of going all the way back to being able to set up reliably here. We know that Pidgeot EX is the search here, but discarding your ace spec, Jeremy, that's gotta hurt.
I mean, it didn't really come in handy last game. Again, it's one of those situational ones where if Caleb doesn't take 3 prize cards, you will need it. But finding the Pheasantipity EX, you just need too many cards. Here is Artisan that can go ahead. And Artisan Super Rod is an insane draw from Grant here.
Going to be able to at least find a way to get back all of the one Charmander here onto the bench, but the most ideal situation would be 2. Are we pushing forward this Pidgeot here and using a Super Rod, of course? I'm pretty sure not going to be able to attack return, but of course the technical machine evolution, and it will be just a couple of quick actions here using Artisan to find Charmander. You know that Charmeleon is right behind it, now just shuffling right back up.
This is exactly what Grant needed to try and stay in this game. Just keep the potential pressure going, force Caleb to try and find these knockouts turn after turn, and with no Gimmighoul in play, that means this Charmeleon is safe from the Soul Rock. There is only 1 Premium Power Pro in the deck. You have the Vitality Band, but that is not enough. 80 damage does not add up to 90.
Now here's the interesting part here. You can kind of see it in our view at least. Caleb is eyeing up potentially using Superior Energy Retrieval at one point to get back some of these fighting energies to Lunar Cycle here. It's definitely kind of feels like a really rough choice, but Arven first. It's now completely safe to start setting up some of these Gimmighoul's as well. Also, Artisan is in play, so could use that as well to set up 1 Gimmighoul, but Earthen Vessel to filter out the deck, some of these energies, so we don't keep drawing into them here, but it will be played, and now it's all about funneling all of these cycle draws and lunar cycles to really finally find our Gimmighoul's.
And it's interesting, too. You had access to Buddy Poffin with the Arven, but opting to conserve the resources in hand, go for that Earthen Vessel. This Lunar Cycle is going to be big for Caleb. 3 cards. It looks like Turo, Arven, Gholdengo EX. You do have at least the Artisan in play, so you can find 1 Gimmighoul, and I think that's why Caleb went for this play. But now it might open up Grant to maybe a boss's orders. You can even attach to the Pidgeot EX and take the knockout.
Yeah, I was just about to talk about that line. It feels kind of rough from Grant, but I feel like it might be decent here. Now, granted, it just helps having all of the energy all the way right in your hand already, but it feels weird to see potentially a blustery wind, excuse me, to get us going here. Are we going to call for family here, Jeremy?
Yeah, the one of call for family in the list for Gholdengo. We've often seen the Gimmighoul split not really happen, where people just playing 4 of the minor errand running, but having the 1 copy of this 50 HP Gimmighoul, able to call for family for another one, that means Grant is not able to do something like boss's orders, take the knockout on the 1, leave no chance for Gholdengo EX in play, and pretty heads-up play from Caleb there.
See what the Lilies gives us here, but 8 cards. Thankfully, no fire energy in the hand anymore. Could have been spelling disaster here, but not much that Grant can really work with either. Like we said, Shaman, kind of a card that we're not using in this matchup. I would hate to see something along the lines of a blistery win. I totally understand why we would, but then we leave a 2-prize liability right in the active, and especially something as important as the Pidgeot EX, which is really the engine of this deck. You can tell it's now going to be Grant just funneling straight to the Charizard EX, and I like swinging with this a little bit more than Pidgeot EX.
Forces your opponent to have just that extra energy, and sometimes that can make all the difference. You're also getting rid of the metal attached to the active. And now Grant taking that first prize card in this game to just under 15 minutes left to go. If Grant is looking to get a win out of this match, the pace of play is needing to start getting faster.
Artisan choices, and it's all about now how safe some of these single prize Pokemon are. Now, once again, the Genesect is still in the prizes, so we don't have a reliable way of finding Gholdengo. Now, granted, we do already have one inside of the hand here, but we need to keep drawing ways that we can access more energy throughout the deck here. Arven also helps. There is 1 Superior in the hand, but also something like Picnic Basket, great fodder to use to just get rid of some cards, extra thinning here, but it will be Arven. It's probably just going to be either another Fighting Gong or the Vessel, but Prime Catcher is actually the play. You think that Caleb just wants to keep a single prize board, Jeremy, where this Charizard's really swinging at pennies, not really kind of taking these massive 2-prize knockouts?
Essentially, yeah, that could happen. The maximum belt is in the discard, so Caleb is able to play down a Gholdengo and have it survive a Burning Darkness on the following turn, which we could see maybe Gholdengo in combination with Air Balloon to find 2 more cards with the ability, but having access to Prime Catcher, taking a knockout on the Charmander is very important in Caleb's prize mapping, just because he's at 5 right now. Then you can just take a knockout on the Charizard EX and the Pheasantipity to clean things up.
You see the tapping of the Gimme Ghouls there only because they were played this turn. Caleb cannot evolve into 2 of them, but can evolve into at least 1, because Grant did take the Call for Family one, which I actually really like the split as well. It's a nice kind of unstick option if you're kind of in this pinch here. Goes to show that players really know and understand these decks.
We're going to see actually just the retreat to the Gimme Ghoul evolve into that Gholdengo. There is the coin bonus for 2 cards, and then having access to the Prime Catcher will be able to bring back up that Soul Rock and take a knockout. And there is also the Tatsugiri, but I think you just always have to go for that Charmander in this position.
It's essentially another creative route to being able to accelerate energy to your Chi-Yu, because Charizard's not going to be able to swing high enough with 240 without Max Belt to take the Gholdengo EX. So your next best option and your only option is going to be, and it's kind of forced into being this Chi-Yu. No premium Power Pro needed to knock out this Charmander here. And I just love the way that this deck has included Soul Rock and Lunatone, because now you just have great single prize attackers.
Now Caleb down to 4 prize cards remaining in this game too. A little over 11 minutes left. Grant has that Chi-Yu found off the Artisan. Again, like you said, no Charizard to power it up in 1 turn, but you can still just attach for the turn, threaten it on the following turn if this Charizard EX gets knocked out. Boss's Orders was found off the draw from Pheasantipity. Night Stretcher for a Charmander. So again, just trying to establish another Charizard EX and still having access to Quick Search here.
Has to decide the best option here too. Has to show a little bit more. Maybe we go for the Iono this turn, Jeremy. Maybe we're just going to swing with the Charizard EX and once again messing up Caleb's draw just a little bit. I mean, he is technically, if we do go for a line like that, Pheasantipity currently isn't in play here. Didn't actually get to see the card off of Quick Search, but it does make sense that it is the Super Odd. Once again, we're playing with a little bit more recovery. Professor Turo's scenario going to be played to get the Pheasantipity out of play. I like this idea, playing a little bit more defense than offense.
With that, leaving just two prize Pokemon in play, but both of them needing a massive amount of energy to take the knockout. 7 for the Charizard EX, 6 for that Pidgeot EX. Caleb promoting that Gholdengo. Does have the ability to evolve into 2 more on this following turn. And I think with the Air Balloon in hand, bring up the one that doesn't have the energy. That way you can get the most out of your coin bonuses.
Yeah, it's the sequencing, right? It's the sequencing with this deck. It's very important to maximize the amount of draws, especially when you need a ton of energy to get this Charizard EX out of play here. I think Caleb is in a great position. We're about to see 3 coin bonuses, 2 of them being active coin bonuses. That's 4. Then if he's able to find something along the lines of Pheasantipity EX, find 7 cards, and still Caleb playing with this massive hand, and that's the big appeal with Gholdengo. You just have as many options as you can really tailor your sequencing to.
Superior Energy Retrieval in hand to go along with the Arven. That equals another one. So Caleb could just use Lunar Cycle, draw 3 cards, coin bonus, coin bonus, coin bonus, and then Arven, if he doesn't find the second Superior Energy Retrieval, there's enough energy in the discard to take the knockout. There is that Pheasantipity EX as well, so just a ton of draw power that we see time and time again with this deck.
No Lunar Cycle available on at this turn, no Soul Rock
That's
here.
right.
So we have to find a way. I think benching the Pheasantipity is probably fine at this point. This is the thing with starting Hops Cramorant in this matchup. That could have been the Soul Rock there, but I'm not too worried right now on this turn, Jeremy. We can bench Pheasantipity, still have the Arven. I do believe we drew into the second Superior Energy Retrieval as well, but it's resource management. Now, granted, I'm looking at Caleb's discard, not seeing one used just yet here, I'm pretty sure. So we do have a lot of access and a lot of ways to get this going here, but Pheasantipity about to hit the bench. Let's see 3 more cards.
And I also just mentioned I love that Caleb is spreading out his discard. It is something I always love to see as a broadcast perspective, especially with a deck so involved in the discard like Gholdengo EX, being able to see that there is 7 energies in there. You haven't used that Superior Energy Retrieval yet. And it is, oh, even look at that. We got our own graphic for it.
Super Odd also being considered, wants to hold on, already has 2 energy in the hand here. Super Odd for just the energy to go back into the deck. I mean, you were talking about it a little bit earlier, Jeremy. We are ticking down time here really hard. 7 minutes. And Caleb, if he's able to take this Charizard out or even get a little bit more aggressive, take something like the Pidgeot out, you can get yourself down to just 2 prize cards left. Has Boss's Orders in hand as well here. But, I mean, the routes aren't looking too clean here for Grant. The prize mapping just looking a little bit rough.
It does look like Caleb is eyeing down that Super Odd, shuffling back 3 fighting energy into the deck. This will allow Caleb to use something like Earthen Vessel to grab a couple energies, maybe even just a Fighting Gong in hand to grab one of those energies that you might be missing for the 7th discard. Last coin bonus for one Professor Turo scenario, which is actually pretty interesting. You could pick up that Fezandipity EX and then play down the Soul Rock. You could pick up the Cramorant and play down the Soul Rock, and that allows you 3 more cards. But that's using your supporter for the turn, which you already have a guaranteed superior energy retrieval. But I think there's enough energy in the hand for Caleb anyway.
Yeah, it feels good here, but Boss's Orders is going to be played here for the Pidgeot. I really like this line. No superior energy retrievals used just yet, and not even an attached return from Caleb here. So setting up a really nice way of checkmate here. Vitality Band, because why not? Just in case something like an Iono, you don't want to draw right back into something like a Vitality Band. Now, granted here, it is going to be Caleb taking these 2 prizes, and now it's up to Grant. I mean, we know that he's probably going to be swinging with the Chi-Yu this turn, but can he go for another Iono play without Pidgeot here? I mean, granted, there is a Pidgey, but we got to find that rare candy Pidgeot to get us started.
Well, that's for next turn. You have to have that Iono in hand right now. There is, what, Ultra Ball that can find Fezandipity EX potentially.
3 rare candy in deck, but Monkey Dory is going to be the option here.
Now, Chi-Yu does have the knockout with an energy. You can also just retreat and take the knockout with that Charizard EX, but again, you're putting a 2 prize liability in the active spot. Grant having the Iono in hand does not need a quick search for it, but no fire energy, had that dark energy. That one of tech for that Monkey Dory is going to have to rely on these 4 cards off the top of the deck to find a fire energy to attack the most optimal way.
Oh my goodness, no, unfortunately, Jeremy. It's 2 rare candies and an Artisan here.
And this is worst case scenario for Grant. You're going to be able to go down to 2 prize cards left, have potentially game on the next turn. But your opponent has 2 Gholdengo, 1 with an air balloon, a Fezandipity EX, and a potential to play down Soul Rock, discard some cards, and still has 3 superior energy retrieval left in the deck.
Yeah, I don't like the odds here for Grant in this game, and now it's just 2 cards, and Caleb in the same position as he was in game number 1 here. But still, I mean, you take out the attacker with the energy on it, but still 2 superior energy retrievals already in hand here. All he needs to do is just draw enough ways to discard it.
For the 3rd one as well, the luck that Grant has is insane. That Caleb just having everything off of this Iono, even discarding a superior energy retrieval with the 2nd one, and just like that, Caleb Gedimer going to 11-2-1, hopefully looking good for the asymmetrical top cut.
I think there's a phrase that we'd like to use in this game, Jeremy, that Iono is a lie. And it certainly proved that way twice, right? We saw Grant have some really rough hands in the beginning of the game, having all the fire energy in the world in his hands right there. And it's the correct play. That's the thing with a Pokemon trading card game. It is correct to hand disrupt your opponent there and bring them down to 2 cards, but each time it's led to at least 1 superior energy retrieval, but to add just the cherry on top and say, you know what, here's the 2nd. And we talked about it, still having all of the draw available, right? You take out 1 Gholdengo, which is the correct thing to do, right?